Hello and welcome to Atomic Facepalm. Today in Heart Attack, it's a battle of the wireless mice and their charging pads. Thanks everybody for tuning in. This is Chris.
And I'm Bree.
And I am reviewing the Logitech G903 wireless mouse with its wireless charging mat.
And I'm reviewing the Razer Mamba and Firefly Hyperflux.
Okay, a quick overview of what this hardware is, and we'll get a little bit into more of the details on what's good, what's bad, and what's in between. So for mine, what is it exactly? Well, it's a USB wired pad that wirelessly charges your mouse. It's $250 for the bundle. However, you can go onto Amazon and you can actually get the mouse for $115 as of publishing. Normally this mouse is $150. So Logitech does not give you a discount for purchasing in bulk. It's just the two prices put together.
So for Razer, they come as a bundle. There is no additional types of mice, so you have to buy the whole thing together, and it's $249. And right now, you have to buy it through them. This is not a charging mat. This is a power mat. So it powers the mouse, but there's no battery in this mouse, and so as soon as it's away from the pad, it will die.
Yeah, now that's different from this one. This actually, the mat does charge the mouse. You can see it's turned on right now. There's the LED light.
Despite this mat is not powered or plugged in or anything, The mouse is still powered.
So I've had mine. We've done rigorous testing. I played a lot of PUBG and a lot of other games, so mine probably has apparently 36 hours of battery life if I turn the LED off. So really, it's just for mine, it's the standard G902 mouse, which has been around for a little while.
And which some people might actually have.
Yeah, that's true. You might. If you already have the mouse, you don't need to buy anything extra to make it compatible. The mat comes with a little battery. You pop off the bottom of the mouse, you put the battery inside, and there you have it. It's just a wireless charging mouse. So here's what comes with this stuff. Obviously, it comes with a mouse pad, but actually, for both of ours, I think, there's two versions. There's a soft mouse pad, and there's a hard mouse pad. And they are of roughly similar size, although the Logitech mouse pad is actually a little bit bigger than the Razer mouse pad.
Yeah, and it's kind of more apparent here, but not by much. I never felt restricted. So.
Yep. They both come with cables. However, a big distinction here is since this wireless mouse for me, you can get it from by itself. It actually comes with two separate cables. So there's a cable that comes with the mat and a cable that comes to the mouse, and they're interchangeable. They're the exact same cable. So if you lose one or if you just misplace it, you don't have to worry about getting the right one in the right device.
And since mine is a kit, it comes with the pad, and which also has the reversible mats, the mouse, and one cable, singular cable. So you can either use it to power the mat or you can power the mouse and use it as a wired mouse. Also, because it's Razer, you get a sticker.
Yeah, you don't get a cool Logitech sticker. I'm bummed by that.
Every Razer product comes with a sticker. In case you're really into these hot stickers, just buy Razer products for $1 bazillion for these stupid stickers. With
all of that stuff out of the way, what's good about it and what's bad? Now, both of these products have their fair share of both, it seems like. So we're going to talk about what's good first, and we'll get into maybe what's not so good after that. I like the idea of being able to swap out both pads. I like to give you both options, and I also like they didn't do a cheap buy-in where you have to spend $20 and you get the extra pad with it. That was nice. Mm-hmm. Now, at the asking price, for God's sakes, they should have put 25 more mats in there. I will put this out here. We'll get into the bad part, but again, for the money, what you see here is what you get. So I liked my cloth mat. I prefer a cloth gaming mat for my gaming. And another cool feature, which has a minor difference for me, you have to install Logitech software, for one, to get all this stuff working for mine. And then there's actually a profile where it says it tunes the optical sensor to fit the surface you have. So if you're on the mousing surface that's cloth, it tunes it to that. And if you have the hard surface, it tunes it to that. I didn't see much of a difference between those two, but
yeah. No, I really like that the mat, not only is it have both options, but that it's reversible. So it's not like I, suddenly want my cloth one and I have to go hunt that down. I definitely did like that reversible aspect to it.
Mine is not reversible.
Oh.
Mine actually has two separate mats. And it's a little bit of a pain to take it out. We'll save that for the bad part. The wireless charging technology, which is at the brunt of this whole little bundle here for both of them. For me, it works very much differently. I like it.
I think it's big. I used to have a Logitech mouse that was a wireless mouse, and whenever I wanted, I could plug it in and use it as a regular wired mouse, and it'd be charging during that time. I ended up just using it as a wired mouse because I always thought it was annoying. If I didn't, I found it annoying. Yeah, I'm actually pretty on board with this whole thing. One of the good things that I liked, especially over yours, is that this Firefly mat actually has RGB lighting around the rim, but that was actually a really cool feature that I didn't know that I even wanted. I've seen the Firefly RGB mat before, and I was like, that's stupid. It's a light up mouse pad. But once I saw it on my desk, and it like adds this like light hint of ambience, and it matched my keyboard, and it was pulsing and doing all its crazy stuff, I was like, that's actually kind of the coolest thing that I like about this whole setup. Because at the price tag that we've talked about before, I feel like it really needs some bells and whistles for it to get people on board, especially where this one doesn't give you the choice of mouse so much, and you have to buy the whole kit together, and you have to have the Mamba mouse.
Yeah, mine has nothing like that. All you get on my mouse pad, mine being the Logitech PowerPlay, is this tiny little stupid Logitech logo up top. That's it. I mean, sure, you can use the software to change the color of it and change the effect from breathing to strobing, but it's a tiny little logo.
Yeah, and the mouse is pretty lit up too. The mouse has a couple spots, the logo, and So once you install this mat, updates your Razer software to a newer version of it that made controlling several Razer devices at the same time and their color schemes much easier than it was before. So you can actually like copy and paste a color scheme from one thing to the other, and it made it better too.
Again, for my mouse, you can see, the logo that covers up under your palm lights up. That's super cool. And then the only other lights on it are your DPI indicators, which don't stay on, by the way. There's no way to make them stay on. You can just change the color of them and how bright they are, etc. So I don't mind a minimalist approach. What I mind is give me the option to turn off the lights. So if you don't like LED lights in your Razer product, you just turn them off, right? No big deal. Just talked about a little, despite some issues I will get into soon, the Logitech software for the most part is easy to use once it's installed and once you have it to the right version. At that point, it's easy to swap between multiple Logitech products. If you're a Logitech maniac and you have everything Logitech, which apparently I do now, except the keyboard, it's really easy to go through everything you have and sync them all together. Very easy. It's pretty easy to navigate the menus, and it's simple overall to tweak. I like that portion of it. And I do like that you can, again, tile your stuff together. But honestly, if you have all the same product, you should damn well be able to tile your stuff together.
I mean, looks like it's a Terminator or something, and that looks cool when you have it, but then when you put your hand on it, it's just not as nice and mouthfeel, I guess.
Yeah.
When I can compare the two side by side, this wins out.
Well, there's a big reason for that, which is yours is not ambidextrous. Yours is righty only, which I prefer.
Yeah, but I feel bad for the lefties out there. No, I don't want to leave them out in the cold.
Yeah,
either.
I know, but you can buy specific left-handed mice that are just the same quality as the Mamba. Yes, lefties do usually get the stick, and I apologize for that. So if you want a high-quality mouse for the low price of $150 MSRP, then sure, the Logitech G903 will be your best friend. This is one of those gray areas where I'm going to mention this in both the good and the bad. The ambidextrous portion is nice because it fits both hands. Hooray. And it's very easy to swap out the side buttons on this as little magnets on the buttons. You can just pull them out, put them back in, no problem. And it feels overall pretty good. At first, it was off-putting to me. I am very much a person who prefers a form-fitted mouse. So it took a little bit of training, but once I got my hand around it, it was fine. I wouldn't say it's the preferred method for me, but it's a big difference between these two products. One of the biggest differences, actually. And as far as how the mouse responds, which is probably one of the most important things if you're PC gaming, is the tracking. So this mouse for Logitech has a really high quality optical sensor. It actually felt like a wired mouse when I was using it, which is not easy to replicate with wireless technology. Never encountered any interference. It felt smooth. When I played PUBG, I was limited by my own ineptitude at the game, not anything to do with the mouse. I like the default DPI profiles. They have distinct slowness, middle, and fast. So it's nice. The feel of the mouse is great. If you're a lefty and you're looking for a high-quality, top-notch level tracking sensor, the G903 is a good bet.
Yeah, I have no complaints about this mouse and performance-wise. And actually, I turned down its lowest setting because I think its lowest setting was 800 DPI, and it was just like too much for me. It was actually, so I adjusted my levels quite a bit from the start. But it feels like a wired mouse. There's no complaints, and I can't imagine that anybody could ever do anything at that top level of sensitivity. It's like too sensitive.
Both of these mice have DPI buttons, which we just talked about, but there is a minor difference, which is mine are on two sides and are very hard to reach, and yours are actually more intuitive, in my opinion. They are in the middle. I like how on the G903 you can swap between the detented scroll wheel action or just using it like freeform smooth scrolling. So for me, you have the option of using it what you want to use in games, so you can have that hard feel. So you swap between weapons, but when you're web browsing and doing whatever else, you can go to the nice smooth action. It's just a quick pop of a button to do that.
My mouse does not have that. It is always the tactile, clunky scroll. That's it. That's all you get.
We should point out they both have side-to-side scrolling too if you happen to use that.
Yeah, no, actually, this is one of the first mice that I've ever used that click left to right as much as I have. It feels really good on this mouse.
Awkwardly enough, I gotta say I prefer the scrolling action of yours versus mine. Mine is very clunky and heavy. It's like ka-chunk, ka-chunk, ka-chunk. So the Razer mouse for me, and that's probably just because I'm used to Razer mice, has a softer feel to it, which I like. Aside from the middle mouse button, which I'll talk about soon in the bad section, the feel of the 902's left and right buttons feels really good. They actually have this sort of mechanical hybrid technology with actuated springs. I'm not sure what all that means, but what I do know is it feels really good when you click them. It's almost like you have a little mechanical keyboard at your fingertips, and it feels awesome. And actually, quite a few of Logitech's mice feel this way. So I will say I really do enjoy that. Every click is very responsive. You know exactly when you're going to click, and it feels like you're almost playing a mechanical piano or something, which I really enjoy. And the side buttons are pretty good too. It all feels good.
Yeah. I mean, I'm always been a fan of Razer's mechanical mouse buttons. They are, I think, flawless. For the left and right mouse button, Razer's mechanical mouse switches are always awesome. I recommend any Razer mouse ever, always. The side doesn't feel like mechanical switches, or they're just not as responsive as these ones are.
Yeah.
Those actually feel better. But the left and right mouse button feel really good. And I do like the placement of the side buttons a lot. They're very easy to hit in my hand. So
yep.
For the most part, I like the buttons.
Here we are rolling on to the bad stuff, or maybe just the less than savory stuff that goes along with these mice. So the ambidextrous part, again, it's good. I like that they're including lefties on this, as well as righties. However, it's a negative in the sense that you can't get the same comfort as you do with a mouse that's specifically crafted to mold to your hand. There's just no way, or at least no way that's been done yet. So it comes close for my mouse. It comes very close. It's not an uncomfortable mouse. But if you were to compare it to yours in a blind Pepsi challenge, there's just no way you're going to pick mine over yours. As of now, my charging pad only supports 2 mice total. That's it. The G903 and the G703. And there's a big price difference between the two. I think the G703 is like $65, and this one is way more. I am hoping they will incorporate more mice, because 2 mice ain't that great.
Mm-hmm. And for me, it's just 1 mouse. That's it. That's all it comes with.
For mine as well, if you just get the wireless mouse without the charging pad, there's a little tiny micro weight that you can put into it and make it a little bit heavier. Mm-hmm. However, if you use the charging pad, you cannot use that weight, because that's where the wireless charging battery goes, which is a bit of a bummer. I wish they would have done a better weight system.
Your mat powers your mouse. That means you have a light mouse. So if you're into light mice, that's fine. But it's kind of a bummer that 20 seconds off the pad, this is going to die. Not that you're lifting it up that often, but it is kind of I don't know. I don't feel like this added that much weight to that they couldn't just give me a battery, a small battery, have it last 2 hours or 3 hours, so that literally if you're going to walk away from this for a second, that's you're done. It's going to die.
Yeah.
That's kind of a bummer.
It is, again, because these are the same price point as of right now. So when you're in the same price range, all of a sudden, if one has a feature the other one doesn't, yeah, it's a big deal.
Yeah. And especially since a lot of people prefer weight in their mouse, I don't feel like people are aiming for really light mice often. Usually they come with weight kits because people want to add weight to their mouse.
Yeah.
That I don't feel like they've sacrificed weight here for any particular reason.
The overall price is very, very expensive. Now, they're obviously catering towards a richer crowd here, and that's fine. A lot of new technology is expensive, but for what you're getting, it's a lot of money. If you already have the G902, then it's more of a minor investment. But again, $100 for a charging pad is more than most mice cost. So it's tough because when I review it, I want to review it in the sense of like, who is this product geared towards, right? If I review this mouse and say, oh, well, people can't afford it. Yeah, I know, but that's probably not who they're aiming it towards. But it just feels, even for if you've got a ton of money, it just feels like you're not getting much for $250.
Yeah, so I kind of agree with that. I don't think they're going to get anybody that has a mouse that's working. I think if your mouse is alive and well, keep it until its last dying days. There's no reason to stop what you're doing and hitch onto this train. But if your mouse died and I'm looking at it, I'm getting a cool, colorful, mouse mat, then yeah, I can kind of get behind it.
Sure. Yeah, if you have money to burn, it's kind of a fun little toy. But if you're, like you just said, if you're just wondering, hey, is it worth it to upgrade? No, I wouldn't say so.
I don't think so. I think if you need a mouse, it would be worth looking in this direction of these kind of mice. So another bummer is that it comes with one cable. So if you want to travel and use this mouse as a wired mouse, cool, that's great. But that means you're going to have to unwire the one cable that came with it from your desktop computer so that then you can travel with it with a laptop or whatever.
Yeah.
So once I've wired in my mat, fine, that's fine. I want to leave it there, but I want another cable. And for $250, I don't think it's much to ask for them to at least give me a short, small cable that I could use this on the go, especially since it doesn't have a battery. That is one of the bigger complaints I have, is that just now for this review, I have to unwire this.
Yeah, it's a pain. I like to cable manage a lot, even with just my loose peripheral cables. So for me, that would be a huge deal. I have to go behind my desk, unvelcro everything, pull it out. So yeah, that sucks. And thankfully, the Logitech does indeed come with two. So I actually have no complaints in the wiring and accessories department for the Logitech. They really covered their bases there.
Yeah.
It's a thick nylon-braided cable.
Case and all
Yeah,
kinds of
so
stuff.
they did great there. That's a bummer on Razer's part. The software, while it is easy to use for Logitech, it is not easy to get it installed if you have older versions of it. So I happen to have the G903 Artemis Spectrum headsets, great headsets, and I had the Logitech software that goes with it. Unlike yours, mine did not tell me that you have to have the most recent version. Now, I know people are saying, well, of course you have to have the most recent version, and not always. They should really tell you if that's the case, or if they do, it was not made entirely apparent. So I went through the course of setting this stuff up, and it actually wiped out my headset profile. And to get it back was a huge deal. I had to go through a lot of troubleshooting steps. I'd restored my PC. That didn't work. So long story short, it was a pain.
Yeah, it took you a while. I think I plugged mine in, I was going, and I turned around, and you're like, I don't know where my headset is anymore. And it was like another 30 minutes after that before you had everything working. Whereas I think the key to these systems is that it works with what you already have. Like my biggest suggestion on when choosing one of these is probably you want to choose the brand that you already have the whole system to go with. So you have a Logitech keyboard, and for it to not work with the rest of your devices that you have from their brand is kind of the worst. So I kind of mentioned this before when he was talking about his middle mouse wheel, but I am not a fan of the tactile, clunky kind of scroll mouse thing. For me, I like the smooth scroll, and I usually choose that gaming or not gaming. I always choose that. And to not have that option on a $250 mouse kind of makes me grumpy. So it's a bummer, and it's taken me some time to get used to it, especially like scrolling through Twitter that I have to like clunk, clunk, clunk down. In general, I like the mouse, but that is one of my biggest issues with it.
Yeah, I have an issue with my middle mouse button in a different manner, which is pressing the middle mouse button is very, very stiff and hard. It's like the opposite of the rest of the mouse where it's simple and fluid. And for me, when I was playing games like PUBG, I would get killed because I'd press the middle mouse button to try and select whatever I have that assigned to, and I would switch weapons, which is a really big deal if you're in the middle of doing something. So, yeah, for me, I didn't enjoy that. I would have liked a nice, smoother, easier to press middle mouse button. On the Logitech G902, it's broadcast that you can actually swap out and install all the side buttons. That is, 2 side buttons on both sides simultaneously. That sounds good in theory. It is not good in practice. Trying to press these side buttons with your pinky is impossible at best, and at worst, accidental. So, yeah, Logitech, you can install them, but unless you, change your hand over to press the other side buttons. It's not feasible.
Not to mention that most people kind of pick up their mouse. You're always accidentally pushing those mice.
So yeah, that's a stretch. I mean, okay, I'm glad. I guess you gave the option for people with gigantic spider-like hands, but no, that's not really there. So I was not a big fan of that. And on that same note, their budget version, which I actually reviewed in another Heart Attack, has 2 cool little extra buttons that are up near left click. Mm-hmm. This one doesn't. This is a $150 mouse, and it doesn't have the extra buttons. Like, Logitech, what are you doing? Like, come on, guys. I want those extra buttons. It's a dream-level mouse. Give me the buttons.
This is kind of nitpicky, but the naming for this duo is a little confusing. So this is the Razer Mamba Hyperflux, and this, Matt, is the Razer Firefly Hyperflux. But you can only ever buy them together, and so when Googling through things, because they also have a Razer Mamba mouse and a Razer Firefly pad, it's really the word Hyperflux that you're looking for when you're looking for this product, and it was confusing on their website a little bit. It was confusing when I was trying to find it elsewhere. Can I buy them separately? I know that they're trying to feed off the people that like the Mamba mouse already, or they like the Firefly pad, but it almost, if you're going to sell it as a kit, give it a kit name. If you're going to sell them separately, give them separate names. It just became kind of confusing to find this mouse setup together.
Yeah, I didn't have that problem, luckily. I mean, again, this wireless mouse already exists by itself, so that's that. And then there's only one wireless charging pad. They have other mouse pads, mouses pads. They have a lot of them, and they're all named differently. So that luckily was not an issue for me.
Yeah, and then the other thing is when referring to it, a lot of people call it the Razer Firefly Hyperflux, like within articles. And so I was like, well, is it the Firefly Hyperflux? Is it the Mamba Firefly? You know, it's just in every other place it was referred to slightly differently, and it was confusing to find.
Ah, yes, here we are at the very end of it. We've done the good, we've done the bad, we've done the overview, but here are the verdicts. Bree, do you recommend your wireless charging pad and wireless mouse bundle?
I do. It's hard to talk about. I want to kind of talk about them as a whole. And I think that what I said before is true, that if you have a lot of Logitech stuff, then get the Logitech one. If you have a lot of Razer stuff, get the Razer one. And if you have a lot of Corsair stuff, then get the Corsair one. Right now, there's just the 3 of them that offer those, and there's not enough major differences that I'd say this is the one, because it has enough pros and cons that I think they kind of weigh out, and it's better to have it within the ecosystem that you already have. Out of the 2, I personally prefer mine, and a lot of that has to do with the mouse button feel, the left and right, and how it feels in my hand.
Yeah.
And I really do actually like the RGB lighting. And I know that makes me a computer nerd, and everybody's kind of over the whole RGB lighting thing. But honestly, seeing it on my desk made me happy. And that's really all I care about when buying something.
For me, I do recommend this bundle. They both limp over the finish line. Mm-hmm. They barely get there. Again, for me, the main sticking point is the price. $250. Again, even if you're a rich... and you've got plenty of money to throw around, who cares? It's still expensive for what you're getting. For me, the negatives were just, I don't know. I want more lighting options. I want more bells and whistles, like we said before, for that price point. But the mouse is so damn good that it kind of carries the rest of it for me. And the fact that, again, for me, swapping between cables is easy, and the battery gets charged. You can leave it off the mat if you want to. So I would say it just gets my recommendation. It's cool technology. They need to lower the price point at some point. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. You can always follow us on Twitter. You can subscribe to our channel, and you can leave your comments below. So, until next time, from Chris
and Bree,
good luck.
Have fun.
Hello and welcome to Atomic Facepalm.
I'm sorry, can you do that again? I was doing a weird thing.
Hello and welcome to Atomic Facepalm. Yeah, see, now I'm caught on. Hello and welcome to Atomic Facepalm. A heart attack today. It's a wireless mouse. Fantastic editing already. Mm-hmm. Hello and welcome to Atomic Facepalm. Hello and welcome to Atomic Facepalm. Today in Heart Attack, it's a wireless charging mat. And they're mices. Here we are rolling on to the good... give options to lefties and a good amount. Fucking hell. One of the things that's touted on my mom. I almost said my mom. Got our own YouTube channel.
My mom.
Mama. All right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in to another Heart Attack review. You can always follow us on Twitter. And you can God, talking about limping over the finish line. Bree, would you recommend Chris for the next narration?
Who's editing this beast?